listening to Celsius Radio.
All right, here we are with another episode of Celsius Radio Community. Today, we would like to welcome James Tylee, co-founder of CyberFM Radio. That's CyberFM Radio, an app that allows listeners to earn crypto either while they learn or while enjoying a growing range of music. Now, James is a very experienced fintech expert, entrepreneur and philanthropist, not to mention an old rocker, as you can see, unless you can't and you're just listening to the podcast. He hosts his own rock show on the platform. So, thanks for taking the time to chat with us, James. Good to virtually meet you.
Yeah, it's been a little while, right? We've been talking for a few months now, right?
Yeah. Well, it's taken me longer than I'd hoped to get it up and running. We were just about to launch when we got asked to be moderators in one of the social media groups, and that can be quite time-consuming, as we found out.
Yeah, social media is tremendously a mess, even during a bull market, for sure.
Indeed. So, where are you at with your own Cyber FM development right now?
So we're doing really well. We for the most part, we're in what you'd consider production, right? But we are growing now. We started off as an ERC 20 token about 4 years ago. But now that we've gone into multi-chain, we're in Tron, we're going to Binance, we're looking at some others, because we want more people to obviously enjoy listening to radio and earning money. But, you know, a lot of people are, like, for example, we might get some FUD, some fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's like, oh, you're trying to go into these other markets, you know, because of Ethereum. And we always have to go back with, no, listen, we're radio. If we see a cluster of 1 million listeners over in some other country, and that country likes Tron, we're going after those listeners. We'll dangle Tron in front of them, but it's the listeners that we want. So that's why we're treating these blockchains now as if they're demographics.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, the whole Ethereum gas fees must hurt you quite a bit, I'd say. So can we, right now, can listeners earn in Tron with us?
Yes.
Oh, nice. That's all up and running.
They're earning the CyberFM. Yeah, they're earning the CyberFM token on the Tron network. Completely different supply because of demographics. Completely different price. Extremely different price, where it actually does confuse some people. But the way we're setting it up, the easiest way to explain it is that we're calling Ethereum legacy. We're not going to get away from it. We're not going to run away, right? So you download the app, and you can put your Ethereum wallet in there, and what'll happen is you'll just start earning, doing nothing, right? You're listening to music, and you're earning the CyberFM token. Now with Tron and Binance, we decided to go more of the DeFi route. So it's like an advanced level. You could do the easy level. You could do Ethereum. You want to get a little crazy? Now we're saying, okay, you're going to add liquidity to like JustSwap. And then we're checking your liquidity pool tokens. So now you're earning CyberFM tokens on the normal way every time you listen, but you're also earning the trading fees that goes on during JustSwap or PancakeSwap, or, you know, that's where we're going. So even though we're radio, and we're radio that went into crypto and not the other way around, we are now at that point where we're deciding to teach to people. Right? You can start off on Ethereum, and then as you figure it out, you've got these other options to, you know, have a little fun, make a little money. For the most part, enjoy some great rock and roll.
That's really smart, James. Now, thanks for including us, the Celsius Radio Community podcasts on your platform. So can listeners of our podcast earn the CYFM token also?
Absolutely. So if they're listening to this podcast and they're stuck hearing my voice as always on CyberFM radio. They're like, wow, wherever we go, this guy, he doesn't leave anywhere. But yeah, it's this, your Celsius podcast is earning people CyberFM, regardless if it's Ethereum or Tron or Binance, within our ecosystem. So you're like into our family now. Welcome aboard.
Thanks, Dad.
Gather around.
Yeah. So maybe Sarn or Jonathan. Jonathan, maybe you've got a question for James there.
Yeah, I really like the idea. Obviously, Celsius is about giving back to the community. That's exactly what you're doing with Cyber FM. And to be honest, I've never ever heard of it until Gav mentioned it. I am just wondering, how did you meet Gav? Because when I came across him, I thought he was a Facebook stalker. But really, he was just trying to make friends with me regarding Celsius. How did you meet Gav?
If I recall correctly, I believe that he was a CyberFM fan, and he was in the Telegram and trying to get a hold of me, which is relatively hard to do, but he did not stop. He had a little persistence, and he started talking about Celsius, and I was like, yeah, I know, I'm familiar with Celsius. Sadly, when you're in this industry, you don't get to go play, right? You don't get to go gamble on one network and loan out money on another, try building a flash loan. Who's got the time? We're too busy giving it all away over here. But yeah, he turned us on to Celsius and started looking at that. And he has this interest in radio. So we hit it all. We're not, especially with podcasts. I mean, it's the one thing we don't do. Podcasts is like talk radio. We don't do that. I might ramble on one of my shows, and that's a DJ thing. But talk radio requires a real special kind of talent. So we thought about it years ago. We're 14 years old at the end of the day.
Oh, wow.
And talk radio just never really worked out. We do talk segments. It doesn't matter if it's a rap show or a metal show or a pop show. You'll have your talk segments, but doing what you guys do and what podcasts are becoming is a different type of talent, and we'd much rather bring people like you in than have to do it ourselves.
Nice one. Yeah, I got to say, blockchain radio was a major inspiration for me with this show, and it still remains a great source of education. I personally, I love listening to Rich and Amy and Digibyte's show with Johnny Fry and his chats with Pierre Bourque and all the other guests and crossovers, including yourself. Totally recommend the channel. But, sometimes they repeat content, and so that'll give you a chance to flick over and listen to our podcasts if you're that inclined.
If I can say, though, I will pat myself on the back. The crossover idea was genius, right? Because Pierre on blockchain radio is all talk, right? And I'm not all talk. But the crossover idea that the one radio network was going into the other one, they host the live shows and they play it on rerun, like you said. And then with CyberFM's side, I'll say, well, I'll treat it like it's my podcast. So now I have my own podcast that you can listen to on demand, whereas they're doing their radio thing. I'm kind of proud of it. And I made the logo for Crossover Radio. If you see it in the mobile app, it's pretty cool. So that is, I guess I'm a liar. That is my attempt to get into talk radio.
No, that's awesome. Sarn, have you got a question for James there?
Yes, I've been using CyberFM for probably since late last year, I think. Gavin introduced me to it a while back. And for a while, I was definitely just listening to the different music stations and stealing music ideas or song ideas whenever I'd come across songs that I liked. So it was good for that. But this morning I checked out the Celsius Radio Community podcast pop up, and it was actually quite a nice layout. So even though you said before that originally, podcasts weren't what you guys were kind of after, what you're after on Cyber FM going forward, are you looking at getting more podcasts on board, especially from the crypto community? Because from my point of view, instead of using Spotify or Apple Podcasts, because I'm a crypto person myself and the layout and the sound and everything worked fine, I'd rather go and use Cyber FM for podcasts if they are on there. So do you think, bringing more podcasts on from the crypto community is something you're looking at doing?
I would say yes, absolutely. We're not out searching actively yet, but kind of like what Gavin did when they come to us, we kind of, it's kind of like we're curating, and we're vetting what would be a good podcast because we know our audience. But at the same time, like you said, we have, we're 14 years old. We're older. We have a tremendous amount of listeners that might just be learning about the word Dogecoin right now, which, and I'm just saying, right? That's the hot thing. So now they're like, wait a minute. They're like, so this whole time that I've been using CyberFM, I could be earning. So we're starting to see that migration of the regular radio listeners come over. We're not out attracting the crypto script kiddies of Twitter. We're telling the people that have never had crypto, get in this way. So I would say it would be the right move to grab podcasts that are going to help educate our existing listeners so that they can move into crypto. I'm not really looking for the geniuses that are going to tell you what to do and how to do it. I want good podcasts that explain what they do, why they do it, and how they do it. Because our listeners get a wallet if we create it. They don't even know that you need gas fees to move a token. They're learning that, but that's how fresh they are.
So just to let people know, you're actually the first distributed ledger performance rights organization in the world. Is that correct?
Not only are we the first, but we tried to trademark that exact phrase too.
Nice.
So for future distributed ledger performance rights organizations, we can go, yeah, that's us.
And just about the token, so you've got your Cyber FM token, that's a CYFM token for listeners, and for your contributors, not us unfortunately, but for artists, you've got the Music for the Underground token, which is the MFTU. So how does that work?
So that's really, believe it or not, MFTU is like my baby, right? Because then we go back to music. And it's the same. It's not rocket science for the average person to understand, where these artists, they go on other radio platforms, streaming platforms, and they're compensated like 8/1000ths of a penny per song per listener. It's a microtransaction. And believe it or not, that's the way it is even for Kid Rock and Taylor Swift. And they're not millionaires. They're billionaires with pennies. Right? They're just bombarded with these microtransactions. So mainstream for the underground, which is what MFTU stands for, means that we treat the underground artists automatically as if they're mainstream, right? So we're not out there doing, be the 10th caller, win yourself a pair of Aerosmith tickets. We're saying, right? Exactly. We're saying, be the 10th caller and win yourself a chance to go see Jonathan Blackmore live in New Zealand. So we're treating Jonathan automatically as if he's Steven Tyler. So what we decided with crypto was, let's pay them like they should be paid, as if they're automatically hot mainstream artists. They're getting their copyright protection. They're getting, we know with the blockchain, you don't need to trust anything. You don't need to worry about permissions. Everything is immutable and transparent. Musicians love it. And my only goal in life is to find the next hot star.
So, Johnny, you might have some objection to being labelled a New Zealander.
Yeah,
what do I know?
I can't get there at the moment, but I quite like it in the UK. But I do need to visit at some point. But I'm not a Kiwi. But if I could be famous for doing a podcast, I'd be happy with that.
Hey, David Hasselhoff is extremely famous in Germany, and he's an American. So don't worry about where you get famous, just get famous.
Awesome. Any other questions, Sarn or Jonathan there?
Just gonna be cheeky and ask you: do you have Celsius as an app, and are you a hodler?
I am not. I want to say I created an account, but I just don't have the. I don't know if I really want to lend out. It's for lending out, right?
Yeah, they lend out the crypto collateral backed lending. Is
Right.
how they generate the yield.
Yeah, so
I'm one of those guys. One of those guys in crypto that actually uses crypto, unfortunately. So yes, at one point in life, I probably paid $180,000 for a car because you use crypto.
But you're a Bitcoin OG.
I've been myself. I've been in crypto since 2010, 2011.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
I
We've seen it
lost
all.
I lost 9 Bitcoin to a full house once.
in a round.
Sorry. Gambling.
I mean,
Bitcoin.
it was
Not
90.
crazy.
It was $90 at the time.
Ouch. So are you still a fan of gambling then?
Yeah.
You know, I do still have that app installed on my computer. I'm not gonna lie, but nowadays it's so I see your 0.000001, and I raise you 0.000001.
Yeah, gambling
man.
Satoshis.
That's class. Go on, Sarn. Have you got a question?
No, I think that's it. Like I'm still using the CyberFM token, but just seeing Celsius Radio on there this morning was actually quite cool to see. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing more things slowly popping up over time.
Yeah,
Have you done the claim thing? Because we moved over from, after we hit like 40,000 wallets, we weren't able to individually pay. But it's just not going to survive.
Yeah.
Gas fees. So now we created a smart contract where you could go and you claim your tokens whenever you want, actually. So you could treat it like a savings account. And when that moment you catch gas fees are down, you're allowed to go claim your payments now on your demand. So I don't know if anybody caught that change.
That's what I'm waiting for. I've got it on the website and I can see how much I've actually got that I can claim, but the gas fees are just too horrific at the moment. So I'm just going to keep saving my earnings until the gas fees are low enough that I actually want to put it back into my wallet. Because the gas fees are currently sitting at something like $60 New Zealand. That's what's popping up on my wallet. So hopefully it comes down over time. Otherwise I might have to switch over to the Tron network or something else. But
yeah, we got a little heat for it originally, but I think now that everybody's familiar with it, they're like, this makes sense. You can't argue this. You got a checking account, you got a savings account. So we were proud that we were able to pull that off in like a month.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really clever idea. Actually, I was wondering what that was all about, because I sort of had a break from CyberFM for a while because I've been so busy with other things, and I totally get where you're coming from with not having the time or the mental space to try different platforms like Celsius, but I think there's a lot coming in the pipeline that's going to make it more attractive to everyone, with like a web app and swap feature in the thing, and all kinds of great things that are happening, automated loans. So yeah, I'm still, I haven't claimed the new ones yet. I have got some old CYFN tokens in my new wallet still. So thanks for the update about all that.
Just one
Are
more
you guys
question.
okay? Yeah, you go.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, how much do you kind of earn an hour in dollar value, roughly? For listening to the radio. It's just like a nice small incentive that you let build up over the weeks.
So we can answer that question the snarky way, or we can answer that question the honest way. And the honest way is we're so volatile that I would be lying to you, right? I know we have a leaderboard that some VIP people have access to. And we're gonna actually release that leaderboard for everybody because people tend to love it. But I would say at our lowest point, and we're not an expensive token by any stretch of the imagination. We're not supposed to be, right? We're reward points is what we are. We have people successfully paying their cell phone bill, their mobile phone bill.
That's cool.
Right. And if you think about it, how many streaming platforms are asking you to pay $14 a month, right? And yet over here, you're making $14 a month. So we're proud that we've turned the tables around. As for how to manipulate and how to game it, we actually have fun with that. We have something what's called the Billy Joel algorithm, and nobody can figure out the Billy Joel algorithm. And I have gone as far as to play the Billy Joel algorithm on my Tuesday night shows. And I go, did you figure it out? Nope. But there is an algorithm. If you click play and pause too many times, you're gypping yourself. And if you wait too long, and you ignore the "Are you there?" button, you can gyp yourself. So, and you don't want to do that. It's like Netflix. You know, if you fall asleep with Netflix on, you wake up to a big box that goes, "Are you still there?" Because you know it's bandwidth is consuming.
Yeah,
and we need you. We need you to be awake when you're listening to music. So it's not like you're going to put the radio on, go to sleep, and wake up the next morning with $100. You know, we got you.
That's really cool. I mean, that's a really great way to, discourage people gaming the system. Although I got to say, I've found it frustrating sometimes because I'm listening to a really interesting interview and then it stops. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And I have a look there and it says, are you still listening? I was like, oh, well, it would be.
I am trying to, we're going to make that a little bit more lenient because I think it's a roulette table, right? It's going to stop for Gavin at a different time than it's going to stop for Jonathan or Sarn, because we had people when we were developing this app, we had the best of hackers, for lack of a better word, just with a bot clicking play every 5 minutes, play, right? And we were like, okay, well, let's randomize it and good luck with your bot. Then we had a guy in China who owned a mobile phone store. Play CyberFM on every single phone in his store with one wallet. And we're looking at the data coming in. We're like, what the hell's going on over in China? And we confronted him and he was like, was that wrong? We go, well, ask yourself, did it feel wrong? He also had the volume on mute, right? So he had the volume on mute. The thing was just playing forever, 3,500 phones. People, and and I was like, thanks for giving us like 4 new answers. Like we solved 4 problems for not one guy right there.
Excellent. I think that I see some really good potential with your tokens. And I mean, it's kind of like Brave Browser with their basic attention token. I mean, people were sort of laughing about how cheap it was and how it wasn't worth much when they started to use Brave Browser. But now, I mean, look where the token is, and Celsius even has it in our wallet. You can earn yield on your BAT token.
Yeah, BAT pulled off a lot. They grew. I mean, let's be honest, the browser is a bona fide product, and it's a pretty good product, right? So yeah, we'll get there. And we're very niche, right? I mean, we are very niche. We are not like, you have like Spotify and Pandora. That is called curated playlists, right? We are actually not that. We are radio, right? So there's times where it's me on Saturday night going, I'm opening up the request lines. Let's get in Telegram. Tell me what you want to hear. You don't get that on Pandora. You used to get it on Slacker. And Slacker even kind of moved away to they're faking it. So we're the last of a dying breed. The musical blockchain platforms that are out there, some of them like to call us a competitor, and I go, we're not. We're not a competitor. You're a curated playlist. We're actually radio. So I'm waiting for that next big radio move. But hopefully things like having your podcast on will keep the more modern day. There are people out there today that go, I don't know what radio is. But do you own a car?
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I mean, I was kind of hoping to have the odd song on the show, but we're not quite there yet. Eventually, someday. But mainly we're just a chat show for our community, but also for, interesting partner platforms like yourself. They're actually willing to support us a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, if it's even like I said, I haven't used Celsius, but if it's just good, bona fide, a crypto project that's going to change even a little bit of the world, then yeah, that's what we're going to want to be partners with in terms of media and education and things like that. We're not going to have, I'm not going to lie to you, we're not going to have a Litecoin show, right? Because what is Litecoin? Charlie, how you doing, Charlie? Come on my show. You want to do something? But you guys are an actual whole thing. Like blockchain radio is a whole thing. Celsius is a whole ecosystem. And if another one wants to come, then that's where we would go. Yeah, that's what we want to train our listeners to learn about and understand. So maybe we'll wind up 10 years from now just being the network, right? We'll be the radio network of all other radios.
Yeah, well,
That would be cool.
We'll wait and see. No, but yeah, everyone go try James's app and cyberfmradio.com, I believe.
This is what I do on my shows. Like on Saturday night, I go, take your phone and swing over to cyberfmradio.com. Download the mobile app of your choice if it's Android or iOS. And if you're in one of those countries that doesn't have Google, we're also available on APK Pure. But as long as you download that app, log in with your favorite email address or your wallet address, listen, and just start earning.
Well, there you go. You've got the ad, the advertisement down pat there, James. Well done.
That's all I can do. I can't do anything else.
No, you're a very interesting and colourful character, and medal up your ass, mate. No, thanks very much for joining us, you Metallica fan, you.
Hey, we should make up a commercial for Celsius.
That
Well,
would be cool.
We could do that, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, just before we finish, if any of your listeners on the radio do watch this podcast and they have Twitter, I've actually got a pinned tweet, which is an educational document for free, which basically will educate all of your listeners on exactly what blockchain is, what Bitcoin is, Ethereum is, etc. And you can find me at 21 Blackie if any of your listeners find that of interest. Should be a great piece for them.
All right, nice. Thanks very much for your time, James.
No, glad to be here. I'm flattered you wanted me to be on one of your early episodes. Put it in the archives.
All righty. You have a great day over there.
All right, you too. I'm going to bail, and I can't wait to hear it on CyberFM Radio.
Cool, good stuff.
Thanks, man.
Here's James.
You are listening to Celsius Radio.